It's almost 100 days, those 200 days that will start asking for those promises that were made to you by this government.
And now KTN's Kiguta joins us to begin our week-long series of Jubilee's first 100 days in power. And what were the promises? To open up the super wall and also look at their first pledges. They had pledges in the health sector that were very key. They had promised, of course, to abolish fees at public dispensaries. They have also promised to abolish all maternal fees. And the third promise under the health sector was this, to stock health centers. So we'll be taking a look at these three issues shortly. Let's look at the other pledge that they had made, and that is in the education sector. The Jubilee government has promised to keep children under the age of 18 in school. We'll be talking about that. And of course, the big one that has caused a lot of controversy, laptops for every standard 1 pupil. Well, we do know that effective June 1st, it was free delivery for mothers in public hospitals across the country. This wasn't effected immediately. There was a concern from the health heads at specific hospitals that they hadn't received a written directive from the Director of Medical Services. Well, hospitals, that was another pledge that had been made, that hospitals were to be stocked. We have not received any word from the Jubilee government that any such thing has been done, and it is truly a dire situation. According to the Kenya Medical Practitioners Association, they say they are lacking basic equipment, and when we talk basic, we really mean basic. As far as gloves are concerned, syringes or other equipment such as monitors, etc., even beds are not there. So certainly this is a big challenge, and we're yet to see the government act on that pledge to stock hospitals. What we do know right now is that the health sector in Kenya is receiving approximately 5% of the budget. That means for every 100 shillings that the Jubilee government is going to spend, only about 5 shillings goes to the health sector. And what does this mean for the country? This is the 4th year in a row that the government has decided to cut the spending on healthcare. This is contrary to the Abuja Declaration that we are signatories to, that pegs it at 15%. So certainly it is impossible to see how real spending, without real spending in healthcare, how any of the other interventions that the Jubilee government has made so far will be effective. Right now, we know that the total is 95 billion shillings overall that has been allocated to the health sector, and as I've mentioned, a little bit over 5%. Okay, so that's what it looks like in as far as the Jubilee government's pledges on the question of health are concerned and implementation. We want to now draw your attention back to the super wall as we now talk about education matters and, of course, the issue of laptops that has been the subject of much comedy and also anguish as far as teachers are concerned. We understand that now they are due on this date, January 2014. But even before we get to January 2014, there seems to be an upgrade of the project possibly looming, with the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education saying that we do need to give the children tablets instead of laptops. He says research shows that in the next 5 years laptops will be phased out, and so hoping not to be caught up with that, he would want them to go straight to the tablet matter. But that isn't concrete yet, and we'll see what their deliberations will mean so far. But one of the things that we do know is that they have been able to cut the projections in as far as how much one device will cost, and right now it stands at the figure of 8,500 shillings per device, and that means the savings from this figure, that money will be churned out into other projects that will help ensure that the laptop program runs smoothly, including the training of teachers, the setting up of computer laboratories, the setting up of storage facilities, and so on. All of this information came out of a cabinet brief on the same. Let's move forward and still look at the question of education. We do understand that there is a bid to have these devices manufactured locally. That means it will bring down, of course, the cost of the program and ensure sustainability. There is expected to be a partnership between private firms and the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology to do the same. You will remember at the very start of this whole discourse on laptops, J.K. Uwati did come out to say that we can actually make laptops, we can actually make computers here in Kenya. And so this is an avenue that the government seems keen to pursue. We also do know so far that there is a curricula that is being made right now dealing with what exactly will pupils be able to access in terms of content on these machines. And then, of course, there are teachers who are being trained to do the same. But really, the question of education and the Jubilee government's pledges cannot be seen without looking at the question of the teacher strike that is ongoing. In fact, today enters week 4. Just today, we had the Attorney General saying that any teacher who does not report back to school in compliance with a court order should be sacked. And we've heard the Ministry of Education also speak strongly on the matter today, warning teachers that if they're not back in classrooms tomorrow, then they do stand to be fired. Let me tell you what NAT are agitating for. They have rejected a 17 billion shilling offer, I beg your pardon, that came out of the Teachers Service Commission. We also know that they basically believe that the 1997 deal that the Salaries and Remunerations Commission has already declared defunct, null and void. They believe that they are still owed dues by the government to the tune of 46 billion shillings. Well, that's it from me here at the Super Wall. That's what the Jubilee government has been able to do in 100 days. Yet more work remains undone. Back to you, Smart and Betty.
Well, thank you very much. And now, those promises by the Jubilee team may have been based on the assumption that government operations would kick off smoothly under the new administration.